So namaskar and a very good evening to all on behalf of the Institute of Climate Change Research at the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda. I extend a warm welcome to Professor Amit Garg, our speaker for today from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Professor Parimal Vyas sir, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, and Dr. K.M. Chudasama sir, the officiating registrar, as well as the invitees for today's program, Shri Shwetal Bhai Shah, Shri Jigar Inamdar, and many other invitees whom we have extended this invitation for the webinar. Besides that, the enthusiastic participants who have registered for the webinar as well as are joining us on the Facebook page of both the Institute of Climate Change Research, MS University, as well as the official page of the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda. So, as you are all aware that one of the objectives of the Institute of Climate Change Research was to provide a common platform to all the stakeholders who are interested in the subject of climate change. And we thought of utilizing this period where we are having a little extra time because of the COVID-19 pandemic to spread knowledge about this subject and connect all the stakeholders. So without wasting much time, I would first request Dr. K.M. Chudasama sir, the registrar MSU, to give his opening remarks. Just to give you a brief background, he is an expert in economics with focus on infrastructure development and is a recipient of National Maritime Award for the year 2006-7 and is currently handling the additional responsibility of the registrar at the university. Chudasama sir, please. Professor Dr. Chudasama sir, I guess there is some technical. Let me just check with Chudasama sir. Hello. I guess we are having some technical hurdles at Chudasama sir's end. Hello. Okay. Chudasama sir is having some technical problems with his network. I will actually introduce our Vice Chancellor sir. It is our privilege to have Professor Parimal Vyas sir with us today. He has always been a huge support to me in all the endeavors which we have taken up at the Institute of Climate Change Research. He has been leading the university since 2014 in various capacities, and the university has added a lot of feathers in the cap under his able leadership and guidance. Number of new initiatives have seen light during his tenure, and the Institute of Climate Change Research is one of the recent additions. Professor Vyas has the distinction of being the very first dual joint professor of Faculty of Management Studies as well as Faculty of Commerce, and has a vast academic and administrative experience, and has been nominated several times as the chairman of the NAC peer team as well as various committees of UGC NPA, and several other prestigious committees. Uh, Professor Parimal Vyasar, may I request you to address us on this occasion?
Yeah. Namaskar. Very good evening to all of you, and Dr. Sanskruti. My heartiest congratulations to you for organizing now this second webinar in the row on rejuvenating climate actions. And on the behalf of the university, it's a matter of great pleasure for me to welcome Professor Amit Ji from the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Sir, highest congratulations and heartiest congratulations to you. Being an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad, I think we always take pride, and under the recent NIRF ranking, as expected again in the management institutions, IIM Ahmedabad has topped the list, and we are so happy, sir, that we are going to get guidance from you. And as we all know that we have more than 330 plus participants. We have in our panel Dr. Jigar Inamdar, our own other panelists Chirayu and Shwetal Bhai Shah from Government of Gujarat. Let us be very honest that each day we are affecting and we are discussing about climate change. In fact, it is such an area which is affecting each and every individual. It is affecting each and every country, and it is affecting each and every continent. In fact, as we all should realize that the climate change, in fact, has disrupted, it has brought disruption in almost all economies of the world. It has affected lives, it has caused people, communities and countries. And I believe it is extremely important for the educational institutions now to see to it that how can we develop awareness, not just awareness, but also carry out impact studies on the changes which are taking place in the climate change. We all are experiencing significant impact of the climate change, even on a day-to-day basis. And I believe that in fact, we are experiencing changing weather patterns. We find there are changes in these normal seasons that we experience. There are rising sea levels, and we also find that there are frequent variations that we all experience, even in during the day and night. In fact, one of the area which probably I'm sure Professor Amitji, he is an expert and he would be talking about, but the greenhouse gas emissions from human activities, in fact, they are driving climate change, and in fact, we all experience that it is still continually rising, and now probably they are at the highest levels in the history. Now, if we would not act, I think the world's average surface temperature, it is projected to rise over the 21st century, and it is likely to surpass 3 degrees Celsius maybe in near future. And probably the poorest and most vulnerable people, they would be severely affected with this kind of a climate change. And I believe one of the purpose why at the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda, we have set up this Institute of Climate Change and Research, and Dr. Sanskruti Majmudar and her team, in fact, has initiated number of studies. I'm very happy to share with all the attendees, because we have attendees across the country. I appreciate the support, the presence of all attendees and all those who are watching us on live on Facebook, that we all will have to realize that this is something which is not part of our lifestyle. If we fail to realize it as a part of our lifestyle, I believe we will have to pay very heavy price. The government of Gujarat is also very, very active under the leadership of Sri Vijay Rupani ji. We have a Department of Climate Change, and I'm very happy to share with all the attendees that yes, we have a group of academicians with the financial support that we have received from the government of Gujarat. The university has undertaken what we call the various projects. In fact, Dr. Sanskruti has also undertaken a very, very interesting and innovative and relevant research project, and she's studying the pattern of monsoon in the Vadodara city, and she is trying to contribute and predict that how we can, handle the situation of flood that we have experienced even last year. Apart from that, a few other initiatives of the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda is that, yes, in fact, it is not just tree plantation. The university has carried out water audit. We have carried out energy audit. And I believe climate change is something, it is a very, very big area. And probably the purpose of these webinar and the institute which we have set up is to sensitize almost all stakeholders of the society that we will have to realize the importance of the climate change. We will have to self-discipline ourselves. And I think if we really want to avoid the worst impact of global warming, because scientists, they say that we have to cut global carbon emissions nearly in half by 2030. I think this is the report which was presented in the UN International Governmental Panel on climate change in last year in October. I think 2020 is very, very important, because after that Paris Agreement, I'm sure those attendees, they are taking interest into this area of climate change. They are aware of this. Then in that case, probably 2020, all the countries, they're going to come together on a common platform to assess. At the same time, I believe I'll take a couple of minutes to share with all of you that the Honorable Prime Minister, has also put in a lot of efforts. We have set up the National Action Plan on Climate Change, which was launched in 2008. And I think we all are aware of the 8 national missions that Government of India has introduced, which represents the long-term and integrated strategies for achieving key goals of the climate change. And then we have in our country various national missions in the area of solar mission, enhanced energy efficiency. Then we have National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, National Mission for a Green India, for Sustainable Agriculture, and also National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. I think what I understand, because this is the second row Dr. Sanskruti has organized on climate change, and Professor Amit, who is dealing with the public policy and public systems, I think would be sharing his expert views on this. But just to share with you, one of the very interesting report, which came from the climate group in May 2019 is very interesting for all of us to know that the top 10 performing states on climate action, they are Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, and Uttarakhand. I'm very happy that we belong to a state which is under the category of high performing state for the climate action. And in fact, this study which this group carried out, one of the very key finding was that there is a positive correlation between the economic gain and climate action. In fact, top 10 performing states which I just just narrated or just listed out, they are also having, these are the only 10 states that has got her highest per capita income. This is also very interesting. In fact, the research study has also found that there is a low degree of correlation between the states having high per capita income and high per capita emissions intensity. This is also very, very interesting finding that has come. The top performing states on climate action has a significantly higher contribution even also in the national GDP. And I believe these 10 states, these 10 states have lower emissions intensity. They are doing much better in terms of energy efficiency. Higher utilization of renewable energy potential is found in these 10 states, and they are significantly contributing with the higher percentage in the economic growth. So I believe 2020 is again a very, very important year for climate action. And Dr. Sanskruti, I congratulate you as a director of this institute that you have identified an eminent expert, from Ahmedabad, where Professor Amit ji is going to talk about it. Before I close, let me tell you what we really need to do, because I think enough information is available. But to me, it appears that if we really want to achieve the goals of sustainable development, if you want to have a sustainable growth, then I think if you want to prevent, the adverse implications of climate change, which are happening, above all, I think we really need to reduce emissions. I think that is something very, very serious. We really need to address it. We also need to save energy. I think there can be many alternatives that can be explored. Experts would normally talk about it. We also need to implement 3 sustainability R, which is normally talked about: reduce, reuse, and recycle. I think nowadays we are also advocating a low carbon diet. Deforestation, I think we have to save forest. We all are aware of the initiatives that we take in almost all institutions, and probably university has to play a very big role. I'm very happy to share with all of you that the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda has got a botanical garden. We have a herbarium. In the university, we have more than 50,000 trees. And I think we have a Department of Environment which is committed. And now we have an Institute of Climate Change and Research. And I think we need to also focus on sustainable measures. So I believe it is going to be a very, very thought-provoking intellectual intercourse that we are going to have from Professor Amit ji. And there is an overwhelming response. Sometimes I feel that, when in the evening, if you have a webinar, you really feel relaxed. You are not facing that pressure of, some other commitment, and you can certainly take a little extra time. Before I close, Professor Amit, on my personal behalf, I appreciate, because there was another, international webinar, which we had just today and tomorrow, we just concluded, and we had the experts across the world. They were speaking on mathematical modeling. That was the reason we requested you, sir, and I'm so happy. On my personal behalf, sir, I appreciate that you agreed to start this session at 6 o'clock despite of a busy schedule. I know you got some commitments, but I wish we are very close to Baroda and Ahmedabad, and we wish that these Institute of Climate Change and Research, which Sanskruti has set up, we want not just webinar or your address, we want your continual guidance in the advisory committee, so that this institute, which we have set up with a lot of expectations, and I hope we would make a significant contribution. And I'm very happy I could see a very important contribution that has come from the Honorable Prime Minister. The book which is focusing on action, which is in your office, probably we share the same philosophy. We educationists, I think, will have to we'll have to walk extra mile to see to it that we will have to put efforts to save the earth, make it a wonderful place to live in. And I hope it's a little, effort that we have set up this institute. It is in a very, very infancy stage, but I hope in near future, we would certainly make it big. And I expect Dr. Sanskruti to conduct number of impact studies. I think that is what we really need to do. If we really want to save climate, if we want to fight out with the adverse implications of the climate change, Sanskruti, as you know, be it agriculture, be it any other sector of industry, what we need to do is we need to carry out what I once again reiterate is the impact studies. And I think we are there to support you. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of takeaways for all of us from the discussion and the expert presentation from Professor Amit. Thank you very much to all of you for a very patient listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining and always being so motivating and supporting to me in all my endeavors. Thank you once again, sir. Chudasama sir, would you like to give the remarks now, or?
Yeah, I should welcome officially Professor Garg. I'm sorry that I was not audible, neither I was visible to the panel, maybe because of some technical error. But I have to have this opportunity to welcome Professor Amit Garg on behalf of Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda, its syndicate members and Senate members, and the entire family of the MSU. Sir, we have been very kind. You have been very kind enough that, despite your busy schedule, as rightly mentioned by Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, that a person of this stature is giving lot many webinars throughout the day. I am sure that within next 1 hour also you are having one important event, and despite that you have consented for contributing to this webinar. We are so thankful to you. This is indeed a very glad moment for us, wherein we are receiving your inputs. On my personal behalf, Sanskruti Madam and Vice Chancellor Sir, I have been reading Garg Sir since long, because my research area is efficiency analysis, and good amount of abundant amount of work, and that to quality research work by Garg Sir has been undertaken in the field of energy efficiency.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, but during my research period also, I have been referring his lot many reports and documents. His two research still I remember after 15 years also, like when my area is efficiency analysis and research, I have been very familiar to the concepts which he has been using, and his two of the research which are most favorite of mine, I would like to mention. One is about the coal transition research which you have undertaken. As my area was infrastructural analysis, like port-based infrastructure I was analyzing, and efficiency analysis, where I was analyzing all the public sector, private sector units on the basis of their efficiency. His analysis on energy efficiency is one of my favorite, and another is coal transition. So sometimes it happens that you find a person whom you were reading a few years back, and now he is a panelist and he is guiding you. So this is a very proud moment for us. Sir, officially I welcome you on behalf of the entire MSU Parivar. Not to take much time, we are eagerly waiting for your inputs. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So let me introduce the eminent personality, Professor Amit Garg, who will be talking on rejuvenating climate actions, think global, act local, something which is the need of the hour. Professor Garg specializes in energy, climate change, and sustainable development issues, and offers courses titled Climate Finance and Managing Energy Businesses to PGP participants at IIM Ahmedabad. His current research interests include carbon and climate finance, energy businesses, corporate accounting of greenhouse gases, energy and environment modeling, water energy nexus, and preparing businesses for climate change challenges. He has co-authored 12 books, 25 international research reports, and published extensively in international journals. He is a lead author for 5 reports of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is, I will say, the apex body for many of the reforms or policies which are being formed. He is currently the co-chair of the IPCC Emission Factor Database and the co-editor-in-chief of Carbon Management Journal. Professor Garg was felicitated by the Prime Minister of India in 2007 for his outstanding contributions to climate change research. He was also a prominent member and contributed to the award of Nobel Prize to the IPCC in 2007. He received the Distinguished Young Professor Award for Excellence in Research at IIM Ahmedabad in 2010 and the Outstanding Researcher Award again at IIM Ahmedabad in 2016. Prior to joining IIM Ahmedabad, Professor Garg has worked as a senior economist at UNEP Rizzo Center, Technical University of Denmark. He has worked on a large number of research and consulting assignments for international and Indian organizations, including the IEA, the World Bank, UNDP, UNEP, USAID, European Union, the UK government, German government, and the Government of India's Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Agriculture, the University Grants Commission, and many state governments. I think the list is endless for Professor Garg, and he has the perfect combination of engineering and management needed for the subject of climate change. Over to you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. Good evening to all. Professor Vyas, the Vice Chancellor of MS University of Baroda, Professor Chudasma, and Sanskriti. Of course, I must confess that it is a very big group. I don't know whether I'll be able to address everybody's concerns and questions coming into their minds, but I'll try to cover a broad brush coverage. And I also welcome all the participants, students, researchers, and also Mrs. Gobil from Jaipur and Mrs. Garg from Ahmedabad. So they must feel happy, my family. And ladies and gentlemen, so let me start. First, let me congratulate Sanskriti for the Institute of Climate Change Research, which MS University has established. No, it's a great thing which has been done. And Professor Vyas was very, I think, to the point when he said this is the thing to be done, and then it is cross-sectoral, it is cross-discipline, it encompasses all the major things which are happening now in all over the world. I say that there are two major challenges to the world. One is climate change, other is terrorism. And I think COVID-19, of course, is happening, but it is not a long-term challenge. We'll tie over it, we'll come over it. But these two require various level of interventions from global to local. And that is the topic of discussion today. I would also say that to regenerate climate actions and thinking globally, acting locally, has two very strong Indian philosophies behind them. First is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one. It belongs to us. We are part of the same world. So we have to think that way. That is the first. Second thing is simple living and high thinking. That is extremely important. The more simplified we make our lives, I think the lesser emissions will happen and the world would be a better place. So maybe with these opening remarks, I'll share my screen. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the starting point is, do we understand the need to save the earth? In 2015, there were two major international agreements, about 190 countries of the world. First agreement was on sustainable development goals. New York, 189 on 190 countries, they signed it, agreed. There are 17 goals in all. And every goal is divided into further sub-goals, sub-targets, we call them targets, about 169 targets. 169 targets across 17 goals. So this, you can read the goals like no poverty, zero hunger, good health, all these things. I think the sixth one on water, seventh one on energy, 13th on climate change, 12th on responsible consumption and production are extremely, extremely important to today's discussion. Then the second big agreement in 2015 was the Paris Climate Change Agreement. This was done, of course, in Paris in December. And the main commitments here, although this shows a beautiful picture, were to reduce global emissions to a certain level by 2100, end of century, so that the temperature increase between 1850, when the industrialization started really happening, coal was discovered, then oil, gas, all these things, 1850 until 2100. In these 250 years, the temperature of the world, average temperature, should not increase by more than 2 degrees centigrade, basic. But we should also aspire to limit it within 1.5 degrees centigrade. So these two very big agreements SDG and Paris Climate Change Agreement 2015, they were very important, I think, events in our history where the world has agreed to take cognizance of development and climate-friendly development. So if both are met, of course, we will save the earth, we will save the trees, we will save water, and every day will be Earth Day. So this is aspiration. No, we should try for that. But now the but starts now. Are we doing enough to meet the two challenges of climate change and sustainable development? Because we see unbridled natural resource exploitation. There was a book, Power, that is Factor of 4. It is an old book. If some of you have read, good. If you have not, tried to get a copy. Power Factor of 4, it says whatever products we make today are possible to be made with 25% of material. If a car is being made of 800 kilos, we can make it with 200 kilos. So material development will happen, and this is possible. But we are moving there, but not yet. We still exploit natural resources as if there is no tomorrow. Water quality is going down in our cities, in our rivers, and water table is depleting. No, we see in many cities of India and all over the world also, maybe developing countries are not so good in this. So our water tables has crossed 100 feet, 150 feet, 200 feet. Not only cities, but irrigation. If you see our Punjab, water tables has gone down from 25 feet to touching 100, 150 feet now. This creates a problem, because if you have to take out this water for agriculture, for drinking, we have to put more energy to take that water out. This requires no explanation. Our cities are bad because of COVID-19. Yes, cities have become clean, but this is not the way our cities should become clean, or water bodies should become clean. We should not wait for a pandemic like COVID-19 to act, but we should take these into our stride. We should take it in our lifestyle. I'll come to that. But we may use this pandemic and these times to change our lifestyles. Solid fuels in kitchen. Are you aware that about more than 1 million people die in Indian kitchens because of the bad smoke there? Because we use a lot of solid woods for cooking, and this is high indoor pollution, high drudgery for the women and girl child to bring this wood for cooking purposes. So this is not very good. Greenhouse gas emissions, of course, go on increasing. During the COVID times, just for information, 7%, almost 7% emissions have gone down because the transport sector emissions were lower. The power consumption level was lower in India also. 25% less power consumption. The earlier initial results have shown during the last 2.5 to 3 months. Green cover, India's green cover, that is forest and tree cover, is about around 24.5-25%. This is, we have deforestation, that is we are cutting trees, and we have reforestation, that is we are putting more trees. But the impact is positive, but we should have more positive impact. And this is all over the world. Indonesia, there are forest fires. Australian forest fire. Indonesia is forest fire. Amazon forest fire. We are cutting trees, and there are a lot of fires happening there. Consumption levels now. This is a word of advertisement and promoting consumerism. So we consume much more and more and more. I'm not against it, but I think we should be more responsible. This will be, of course, income inequality, that is between the rich and the poor. The inequality is going up. which is not good for a society, because poorer are becoming poorer and rich are becoming richer. Wealth inequality, people who own wealth, maybe 1% would own about 70% of total wealth. If you see in India, this is also pretty bad condition there. So wealth inequality, the richest man in earth, as on date, his wealth is about 35–40% of Indian GDP, crossed $1 trillion per year. So this total wealth, not per year, total wealth. So there are some issues definitely. So why we are not able to do enough, or why not we are doing enough? So let us come to, I think there are interesting things, three things: planet, people, and profit. These are the three important systematic elements for the earth. We need people, we need this earth, of course, and we need profit for people to survive, for business to survive. So I think this sequencing between them is some problem now, and the proportion. So I feel that this is the proportion the world is following. Profit is big, then people, then planet. So we don't think about planet. That is what I've shown in the last slide. All those things are happening. So why is this happening? No, profit, main focus, people, planet. So first thing is, companies, businesses, industries have a profit focus. There are owners of companies, shareholders, owners, and there are managers. Owners want to increase the profit. Managers want to increase the sales. So this is a very, I think, known theory. But these two combined sometimes or many times act against people. These two combined also act against people, against planet. And even many times people are pitched against planet because the poor need something to survive. So they need resources which comes from natural systems many times. As I said, consumerism and consumption have gone up. This is one of the reasons. Resources are not constrained. Sustainability of these resources and how do we use them is also not considered. Externality is that the negative impact of somebody's actions. Like, for example, we are running a car. There is a smoke coming out from my tailpipe. I'm not bothered about this smoke. So that smoke is an externality. If somebody gets that smoke, that is his problem, we think. So this is because of these uncovered externality, the total impact is much worse because nobody is paying the price for that negative goods, and the poor consumer is suffering, who is forced to consume that product. Of course, governance issues are huge issues. India, I keep telling, is having many policies. Maybe our implementation is not good enough, so we have to look for implementation. There is something called exit and voice. So for example, in telephony cell system, there is an exit. If you don't like a service, there is a mobile number portability, you can come out. So the service providers have to be careful, to ensure that good service and people stay. How do you come out of a railway system? How do you come out of a public system? How do you come out of a, let us say, for example, I'm not against any system. For example, a poor electricity supply, you cannot come out because that is the only supply you are getting. So in that case, we have to raise voice, and raising voice has own benefit and also own negativity. But this has to be done. Risks. Because of all these things, risks are increasing. Risks are increasing for people, risks are increasing for planet. And if risks are increasing for these two, can profit remain unaffected? I don't think so. So profit will be affected. And we have seen in COVID-19 crisis, when we had to shut down economies, we had to shut down businesses. So because the planet, I'll not say planet, this was some other source of this problem, but it gives a link that if people are shut down, if economies are shut down, profit will definitely be shut down. So profit is getting businesses are getting lot of theft, lot of threats. First is your business itself may be under threat. You may be liquidated because of something called stranded asset. You may have a business, you may not use it because of climate change. You have a lot of coal, you may not be able to use it. You have a lot of oil, you may not be able to sell it. We had a negative price for oil about last month, which was very rare because people had bought oil. They wanted to dispose of this oil because they bought anyway. People are not willing, so they had to pay up to $36 to a barrel to dispose that oil. There are no people to operate. That is business liquidation risk. This risk we are finding very much in many states, like our state Gujarat. We are finding even factories are willing to open, ready to open, but labor is not there. Regulatory, the government can put some taxes. There could be some threat of globalization. We don't know how climate risks will come out. India does not have any carbon commitment on businesses. It may be there tomorrow. We don't know. Supply chain risk, there may be disruption. There may be railway line which may be washed away due to floods, heavy flood incidents, and then your supply chain is stuck. There are many countries that have already entered into protectionism. My country only for my people, nationalism. So that may create problem of labor. Disruptive businesses, as Professor Vyas was saying, there are many disruptive businesses are coming, shared economy, Ola, Uber are part of it. Distributed solution, we can have solar rooftop, solar panel producing electricity on our rooftop. User behavior may change. People are not buying cars. Maybe many people, they say, no, then there is a shared economy, there is a car ride available. Why should I buy a car? So these things are disruptive business and creating problems. Reputation risk, if a business is considered to be very, very negative from climate perspective or from developmental perspective, the shareholders may say, sorry, we will not allow you to do this type of business. So businesses have to maybe change. Public image. Then of course, litigation risk. There are already lawsuits in the US and Europe against big companies that have been in oil company. I'll not name the company in the US, that the lawsuit says that you knew about climate risk, even then you went on doing the business without telling us. So these type of risks may come. Now I'll give an example of think global, act local, no, some examples. So let us take, for example, COVID-19 pandemic, because we all know that and you all know the answer. It's a global challenge, but local actions: wash hands, wear mask, keep safe distance, avoid closed and common AC spaces. So the problem may be global, of a global nature, pandemic, but solution will be very, very local. Another example, water security. So do not waste water, especially in kitchens and toilets. I'll catch up on this later in my presentation. Energy security. Do not waste energy. Switch off something now. Responsible consumption. So do I really need to buy this? Whenever you go for buying online, offline, do I really need to buy this? And if I really need to buy this, what actions I should take to ensure that it becomes a responsible consumption? Gender equality, this is a big issue, of course. Respect females in home and neighborhood and their rights. Rights of females have to be respected. They have to be provided voice. They have to be provided all equal rights as male. Gender equality. Now I give examples from corporate social responsibility, CSR. This is from business domain. So this is the sustainable development goals. We know this target. Then as per Indian law, Companies Act of 2013, there are actions that are possible, corporate social responsibility activities that are possible to be taken by companies, which is linked to these goals: eradication of extreme hunger and poverty. So these are all, if a company is investing in one of these, it is okay, they are allowed to invest. Promotion of education, gender equity and women empowerment, all these things are possible. And just to take a cue from here, what type of businesses, possible projects could happen there? So I'm taking global here and bringing to very, very local actions. Water resources regeneration, village ponds, rivulet in villages, they should be regenerated through various angles, various projects, like NREGA is able to regenerate that. Forest regeneration, we are cutting trees, but how can we regrow, reforest? Agroforestry is coming as a big subject, where farmers along with their agriculture can also grow trees on their mehas, and then that may create extra income. Rural biogas grid, now many houses may not have, but almost all houses will have some connectivity with livestock, either goats, sheep, cows, buffalo. So their dung can be used to create biogas, and then there could be a rural grid which is used. I am aware of some villages in India. I've seen a few villages where this type of practice is available. Solar home systems, very simple home system of supporting 4 LED lights, some 2 charging station, 1 small television, all these things are possible. So coming back to climate change, which is extremely important. It is primary challenge. There are 2 important things. One is mitigation of climate change, that is reducing carbon emission. Second is be ready for adverse impact, because here I think we should understand that whatever emissions we reduce today, for almost 20 years we are locked in the impacts, because Earth has an inertia and it is happening. So today's action will be showing results by 20 years, after 20 years or so. So we should not think, but it doesn't mean that we should not mitigate. We are mitigating for our future generations. Lives and livelihoods involve businesses. So let me take one by one. First mitigation actions, then I will take adaptation action, and then I will take what actions could be for individuals directly. Energy security and climate security, because energy security, energy consumption contributes about 70% greenhouse gas, that is carbon emissions, from developed countries. From our country, it is 72%, India, and about 2/3 from other developing countries. So we must reduce, or we must transit to a low carbon energy transition pathways. Otherwise, if we continue burning coal the way we are burning all over the world, I'm not saying in India alone, it is difficult. It will be challenge. We have huge capacity of coal internationally. Just to give an example, a city like Ahmedabad, which is the 7th largest city in India, require 1 gigawatt of power. So you can assume that we are talking about 2,000 cities like Ahmedabad. Delhi has 2 gigawatt capacity. So we are talking about 1,000 cities like Delhi. So much power we consume. How do we get out of coal? No, people talk about renewables. Yes, of course, renewable is a challenge, but the more renewable comes, sun only shines during the day. No, I think it's no big deal. Everybody knows it. So solar power will be available only during the day. But we need power when sun is there, when there are clouds, when sun is not there, when there is night. So how do we integrate this power into the grid, battery backup, or we have to, there are many technical solutions, managerial solutions, but let us not enter into those now. Batteries, bioenergy, hype and realism. So let us see, whatever we have done in India and over the world, the contribution from renewable energy is only 7 to 9% in India. Internationally, maybe 12 to 13%. So how do we come out of coal? Maybe those who talk about that renewable energy is the panacea for all ills, can solve all the problems. I think maybe they can solve, but not before 2 decades or something, because so much coal, we cannot live without power. So if you are creating a very big hype, renewable, it may camouflage the realism. But I'm not against renewable, I'm for renewables. But the point is, we have to be realistic. Coal has to continue. We have to make coal cleaner. That is more important. Of course, energy efficiency, energy savings. So saving negawatt means negative watt. We have to save energy that will reduce our energy consumption. Reduction means we all know that if you save money, it is like earning money. So if you save energy, it's like creating energy. Further, energy poverty for all and soon. This is extremely important. Now I give one number. Human Development Index, HDI, which UN is calculating for every country. If it is 0.7, India is 0.66, 0.67, very near. Maximum allowed is 1. Maximum possible is 1. And very, I think, highly developed countries is Scandinavian, Norway, Denmark. Their index is about 0.92, 0.93. So HDI was possible at 50 gigajoule per capita per year. So 50 gigajoule, if you maybe want to convert, how much is this energy? This is like in a house of 2-bedroom, non-AC existence, but we can have everything going. We can have 3 units of power consumption per year, per day, 3 units per day, which is quite comfortable. You may not have AC living, but you will have all the light, kitchen, appliances, everything is possible. So decent living. That was possible at 50 gigajoule per capita. Now it is possible at 30 gigajoule per capita. You see, this 20 gigajoule, 40% reduction is not because we are consuming any less light or any less something. Our appliances have become better. You know, LED lighting, a big program by Government of India, touching 360 million LED lamps, they have been replaced. That is, incandescent and CFLs have been replaced by LED in last 4 years. Huge program. So if you see your phones, these type of phones are almost having same powerful CPU, which was possible about 10 years back in a computer that would have consumed 90% more energy. So we are having everything with us with less energy. So it is possible at 30. So countries that are developing now and leaping now, they can really leapfrog the development. Solid fuel use in households should be stopped. That is why I praise the Prime Minister's Ujjwala LPG scheme very much, because we have replaced about 85 million, about 8.5 crore households were replaced by cylinder. Of course, people say that they are not repeat consumers. Yes, but about 60% come back again after a year to get the second refill. That also, I know the government is working how to increase, how to enhance the replication rate, but this is one of the very big, I think, step which has been taken. Modern bioenergy, we have to be sure that the farmer's income is enhanced. So solar is good, but solar, the money goes to solar panel producer and the whole systematic producer, bioenergy, biocrop, the main money goes to the farmer and farmer cooperatives. The government of India has promoted has given budget allocation for biogas, for bioenergy, for ethanol. Hugely, 10% ethanol blending is allowed in our diesel and petrol. I am very happy to announce that 7% target has been met. 10% is not met. 7% blending for the first time in India's history. 7% blending of ethanol has happened. Very good, commendable. Of course, demand reduction. This is something we have to do. We have to ensure lifestyle changes. Let us use the lifestyle changes what have happened during the COVID-19 period. Travels have been reduced, work from home. So if we can stuck with this, internalize externalities. There is a principle which calls polluter pays principle. The guy who's creating pollution should pay the externality. So we have to put a high enough price on every type of pollution, whether be it greenhouse gas emissions, local air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, tree cutting, all these things. There are actions coming in, but for everything there is the price is not very visible now. But we have seen on road, new laws on road. They have created heavy price and penalty if you're not following the rules of the road, laws of the road. There are 57 carbon pricing initiative, but India does not have any. We do not have. And I think I've been telling that we should seriously think. China has 7 mechanisms now, pricing market, which they want to develop and full scale in this year. EU, all I think 27 states of the EU countries, they have one mechanism, which is European Union Emission Trading Scheme. Even USA, there are small markets of carbon emission reduction. Carbon neutral growth, we have to see whether whatever we grow, our emissions may remain at 2030 level. It is aspirational target, but maybe. Cooling action plan, India's air conditioning load is going to increase 7 times by 2037. It's a big number, 7 times. So we have to be careful. If we create more tree cover in our cities, maybe 2 degrees centigrade temperatures goes down because of tree cover, small tree covers here and there. Adaptation actions. So as I said, adaptation is the need of the hour, because there is minimum 20 years gap between mitigation action now and reduction in adverse impacts, experiencing those reversals. These are the big 4 sectors: water, infrastructure, education and health. These are the 4 sectors where we should focus on increasing our strength and managing them well. And the last one is controlling corruption. Now people talk about, Professor Garg, why do you say controlling corruption? I think it is very important, because if we are able to stop leakages, more money will flow into public welfare activities and resilience enhancing projects. I'm again very sort of appreciative of the government of Jan Dhan Yojana. So many crores of accounts have been created and direct benefit transfer is happening. This is extremely important. And second thing is digitalization. Lot of systems are coming on digitalization, so it becomes difficult to maybe for corruption. You see, creating a voice against corruption is good, but creating systematic actions is better, in my opinion. Digitalization and direct benefit transfers are 2 big things which should be happening. And this is our study along with IIT Gandhinagar, Professor Mishra, my very good friend. We have done this. Now, the red one, yellow one is for temperature. The blue one is for rainfall. Now, don't read it. I'll just explain. The temperature is based on 2003 to 2013 data. About 75% of India's land mass, which is having 800 million people staying, is already following 2 degrees centigrade plus. We are on that same trajectory which Paris climate change said we should limit 2 degrees centigrade by 2100, 1850, 2100. This is 2020. We are already touching 2 degrees centigrade or above. So we are in a problem. India is a poor country. We are in a problem. And if you see the precipitation, you can see the areas of Rajasthan which are almost white, means they are good, but dark blue are really bad. No, so I'll not say good or bad, but I would only say that almost 90% of India is facing precipitation challenges, which are close to more than 2 degrees centigrade. So temperature wise, 75% of India, precipitation wise, 90% of India is facing challenges. And then how can we say we are not acting for climate change? We have to, and I again compliment the government of India and Gujarat government, because they are taking very proactive action for climate resilience enhancement. That is extremely good. Now, I'll give something on climate action. Water adaptation. Water should be the prime concern for everybody. Saving water, conserving water, and regenerating water resources should be on top. So, conserve, augment, enhance rivers and river bodies. This is very, very important thing. 41 rivers across 4 states have been brought back to life by Shri Shri's foundations, and there are many more actions in Rajasthan. There are many. Mr. Singh and his group are regenerating water bodies. Very good. Local solutions. We need not always depend on very expensive solutions for conserving water. Local solution. They are cost efficient, and commitment of involved people, populations are going to be impacted. They are taking action in this because they are involved and their livelihoods, lives are dependent on this. Next very important thing is linkages between tree cover and water. Water supports trees and tree cover support water rainfall, more water. So trees attract rain and rains develop trees. So this is extremely important that we cover, tree cover is to be enhanced. Now this is, I think, many people don't understand that enhancing forest is very important, tree cover is very important, but linking forest is equally important. We have created cities in between and forests are just hanging. Forests are just, sorry, forests are just hanging. So the wildlife gets negatively impacted because they cannot cross from one forest to another forest. So linking forest is very important, maybe as important as linking rivers, maybe more important than linking rivers. Water use efficiency, how much water we consume for one activity, for producing 1 ton of cement, for producing 1 unit of power, how much water we consume. For power, let me tell you, the water consumption level is from 2 liters per unit kilowatt hour up to 20 liters by Indian power plants. The government of India has given 4.5 liters as the target which has been given. Other actions, of course, infrastructure development, usable and working. We have to be very careful what type of assets we create, because assets should not become a standard. We should not put money in coal-based power plant because we may find challenging after some years. But I'm not saying that we should come out of coal. India cannot come out of coal, and I tell with a lot of experience and understanding, India cannot come out of coal for at least 20 years. We are using about 850 million tons of coal we may touch 1 trillion ton of coal in next 2 or 3 years. We will slowly improve the coal consumption. We will slowly come out of coal, but not immediately. Corruption control, of course. Corruption, as I said, eats into developmental works, actions, make services work for the poor, the quality of services. If you provide education, if you provide electricity, if you provide road, we should provide high quality to the poor. That is very important. Direct benefit transfer, I've told, distillation, I've told. Seriously consider imposing wealth tax. So this people, some people don't like it, but the point is that wealth tax can be put on house and land people are owning. And I'll give one number which I've discussed with my son, who is an economist in the US. And this is supported by Professor Piketty of PSC of Paris, Professor Sufi of Booth School, Chicago University, Professor Sois. So they all say that, of course, coming back to India, if even people who are having 2.5 crore of wealth, that is, I'm talking only land and houses, they are put a 2% tax per year on wealth tax. This will generate 1% of GDP, which will be huge. And if we include all the other financial holdings investment, this may generate up to 1.52% additional. But this is important that it should not be used for revenue expenditure. Wealth tax should be used for building infrastructure, for transferring to the people who are not having it. So this should be very, very, I think, carefully planned. Education and health, universal quality should be very high. Then let me talk about you and me. What can we do to reduce what could be regenerating our own actions? Important is water and energy conservation should be given very high importance by us. So first is, this should be made part of our lifestyle. No, it should not be that I'll do tomorrow and then I will forget about it. No. Do not waste water. My father-in-law, who is no more, he was so sensitive about water. He used to put one bottle like this in the cistern, in the flush. And every time this 1 liter of water will be saved in every flush. We use 15 liters, up to 15 liters every flush. So if you are saving 1, you are saving 7% every time. Similarly, in kitchens, we have to be extremely careful not to waste water in kitchen. Switch off something, electric switch. I remember my father, who is also no more, from last, I think I remember for when I was a kid, even 45 years back, he used to tell, oh, you are out of the room, please switch off the fan, please switch off the light. So switch off something is in our genes, it is in our blood, it is in our system. We should implement it. Switch off something. The younger generation should very well, I think, follow this. Air conditioner temperature, I think we set the temperature to 20 degrees and then in the night use a blanket. What is this? Set the temperature to 25, 26 degrees. Do not set it below. We will save a lot of energy. Home competition. Now this is for every home. Let us create a chart, put it on your fridge and say who wasted what today. If you wasted some water, if you wasted some electricity, you went out of room without switching off your AC or light or fan, you will get a negative point, and you make some assessment per day. The loser will have to do some additional exercises. It will be positive, and or maybe do work for others. So this is very, very interesting concept. I think I learned it from one of my friend who is very high up in corporate sector and very, very big environmentalist. Sharad. Responsible consumption. Now this thing, reduce your demand. I know that I'm not going to be liked for this. Offline, online. Reduce your demand. Do not just go on ordering. Ask before every buy. Whenever you click on offline or online, do I really need it? Do I need to really buy it? I think if you do this talisman, if you follow this principle, lot of unnecessary buying will come down, and you will do a favor to the Mother Earth, no, by reducing your consumption. And if you decide, yes, I need to buy this dress, or I need to buy this utensil which is very much required, please, please, please donate your old things to the needy. The concept of reuse. You can buy, but do not keep holding things in your house, which is not good. 5 trees in your life. Please plant and nurture 5 trees. Every tree saves about 20 kilograms CO2 per year, which is good. So 100 kilos per year you will save, and the tree will last for 50 years. You will save quite a lot. So you take a resolution, you have to be part of the solution. You should not just be saying, oh, there's a problem of climate change, there's a problem of sustainability. Why? We all can be part of the solution. We must be part of the solution. And I will suggest that please take a printout of this sheet. I will request Sanskriti, I will pass on this presentation to her, to pass on to all the persons, paste this and implement this. Single. You can take a screenshot if you want to of this screen. Please take it. Don't wait for anything to come. Please take a screenshot of this. Do I have some time, Sanskriti, or I am running out of time?
No, sir. Time is all yours.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, this slide has been added because of Sanskriti's request that can you please suggest some research topics to the team at the center, Institute of Climate Change Research. Can you suggest? So this slide I've added. First thing is on mitigation. 2 aspects, mitigation and adaptation. On mitigation, if you want to add, these are some of the topics. Mathematical modeling in general. We do a lot of mathematical models. We work on about 6-7 models. We can discuss Sanskriti on this. Low carbon pathways for Gujarat, for India. Nationally determined contribution, modeling for India, for Gujarat. Sectoral mitigation possibilities. For example, if you are putting solar in Gujarat, what is the potential there? Sub-regional mitigation possibilities and primary survey-based studies. So these, the 4 ones may have a component of secondary literature-based or modeling-based, but we can also have primary survey-based studies. Coming to adaptation and impact, climate science modeling. This is very tough. This requires a lot of commitment. Professor Vimal Mishra from IIT Gandhinagar, I think he is the top climate modeler in India. So maybe you can go in conversation with him. So climate science is a very difficult modeling, but I'm just putting it there. Sectoral vulnerability assessment for water, for forestry, for coastal areas, all these are possible. Livelihood enhancement using primary survey based methods. You can pick up one livelihood and do some primary survey, secondary literature based, and maybe even a small modeling. Urban areas and cities, there are huge possibilities in urban areas. How Baroda will be impacted by climate change, how Baroda will be impacted by extreme rainfalls, how Baroda will be impacted by extreme temperatures. You see, the problem in climate game is not average. It is the extremes which are a problem. Extreme rainfall, extreme temperature, average we are all will manage. Then of course, randomized controlled trials, which have been made famous. They are famous, made famous by the Nobel laureates in economics last year. So they could be tried, they could be conducted. They are a difficult thing. You have to follow so many things, practices. But now, finally, the last 2 slides. There is no silver bullet solution for climate change. We have to do so many things because the world is so different. We have so many states, so many type of weather. We have so many type of living styles. We have type of so many income categories. So there is no single silver bullet which will solve the climate change problem. No. Then people talk about incremental action versus transformative. Now we are living in a very, very interesting age when transformation and increment both are happening. We are finding Ola, Uber, and smart grid. We are also finding incrementally power increase of efficiency of power plants. Both things are happening. Now, natural resource responsible businesses that are taking care of how much resource they are using. So there are also a very big discussion on technology-based solutions or nature-based solutions. For example, technology-based solution, very simple, is putting air conditioner. AC, nature-based solution is putting more trees. Now, why should we say that do this or do that? Let us not be sort of very, very forceful on this. Why can't we find a simple solution? Stay together, 26 degrees centigrade AC setting, so we'll need less air conditioning and plus more urban tea cover, which will reduce the temperatures by 2 degrees centigrade. So these two together can work. Trusteeship, father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi said that we have not taken this earth or business as belonging to me. We are trustees for future generations. I think that is very, very important concept for everybody. I am a trustee of the resources I am controlling. Do not try to manage the environment, live with it and in harmony with it. Of course, there is something called ESG, environmental, social and governance. This is the latest financing concept, and almost $33 trillion have been invested through ESG. The global GDP is about 80 trillion dollars. 33 trillion have been invested through ESG as of now. So can we make this type of investing, this type of financing as Indian businesses? I'm teaching a course called Sustainable Finance. We are covering all these aspects there. Profit with ESG. We have also seen that companies that are environmentally conscious, that are responsible, they generate more profit. They are better on even Sensex. Transitions are indeed possible. I am convinced that transitions to a cleaner tomorrow are indeed possible. But we have to realize that we are not on the right path. We have to minimize our negative externality. We have to neutralize our emissions, negative externality, and then revitalize. Until we do positive action, we cannot expect the earth to maybe shine and be what we want to do. Finally, this is, I think, the last slide. Responsible consumption. Mahatma Gandhi has said the earth has sufficient for everybody's need, but does not have enough for even one person's greed. No, this is a very, not one person, he said someone's greed. The problem starts when we try to be very greedy. I'm not saying don't earn. I'm not saying don't consume resources. I'm not saying that please change your lifestyle to become Mahatma Gandhi. Not possible. The point is we should try to minimize our footprints. We have to have behavioral changes. Buy local. If you buy something which is coming from US, okay, it may be slightly better, but the footprint of aeroplane which is bringing it here will be too much. So try to consume local as much as possible, but quality is very important. I'm not saying that people should start selling local products. Oh, it is local, but poor quality. Quality has to be there. And of course, make in India for the world, which our Honorable Prime Minister has given the slogan, very good. Then we are doing housing for all, energy for all, education for all, health for all. These are required because many of us, our people, are not having these things. It has to be done. So once these are done, there'll definitely be some energy enhancement. There'll be definitely some increase in CO2 emissions. But if simultaneously the rich look after that it is not a clarion call. No, I'm just saying, please become conscious. That's all. Modal shift toward rail, 36% of traffic, goods traffic moves through rails, remaining by road. So Government of India said we should try to make it 45%. This is part of NDC, our Paris commitment. So that will change many things. Finally, really finally, I'll give you the talisman, the very simply whatever I spoken about 45 minutes. अर्ध श्लोक में कहता हूं क्लाइमेट एक्शन का सार, इट इज एक्शन, इट इज नॉट क्लाइमेट चेंज. क्लाइमेट एक्शन का सार उत्सर्जन कम करो, दैट इज रिड्यूस और ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशन, पर एडेप्टेशन को हो अब तैयार, बिकॉज एडेप्टेशन इज द नीड ऑफ द आवर फॉर ए कंट्री लाइक इंडिया. इट इज रिक्वायर्ड. वी हैव ह्यूज पीपल who are suffering or may suffer. So this is it. Now, if the talk looks like very negative, please don't be so negative. I'll give another, I think, a very famous sher by Faiz Ahmad Faiz, a very famous poet. He's no more. So he said, "Dil naumid to nahi, naakaam hi to hai. We have collectively failed maybe, but we have not lost hope. दिल नाउमीद तो नहीं, नाकाम ही तो है. लंबी है गम की शाम, मगर शाम ही तो है. It is evening, which is very dark and long, but definitely we are hopeful that there'll be a dawn. There'll be morning. I think with this word, I thank the MS University. I thank the Vice Chancellor, sir. I thank Sanskriti. Chudasama Saab and all the listeners who have been very careful and very patient with me. So I stop here, and now I'll request Sanskriti if you can guide through the question answer. There I can see there are 39 questions and answers. So if you can guide, I'm in your hands. I'll respond as possible for me. I'm here.
I'll read out the questions. If you stop sharing the screen, then maybe you will be seeing.
Yeah, I will stop sharing the screen. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are questions both on the Zoom question and answer section as well as on the Facebook pages.
Okay.
So I will be reading out some questions from both the platforms.
Yeah.
There is one question from Namita Singh. She says that with increasing urbanization and transport infrastructure, how do you think it will affect the green cover in India and the greenhouse gas emissions?
Urbanization and transport are likely to increase. But as I said, we have to be careful with our urbanization. We cannot stop urbanization. You see, the crux is we cannot stop urbanization. We cannot stop more transport. But we have to be careful. That careful not to do unnecessary things, careful to plan our cities better, careful to have green spaces in the cities, careful to have rooftops which are having maybe a coat of cool roofs, what we call. So all these things are possible. These are also traditional knowledge. These are also things which we have learned from our research, from our activities. I think it is possible, but we cannot say that stop this, stop that.
Right. Shwetal Bhai also has a question that when we are planning for energy system transition, do we have a plan for economy transition from crony capitalization? What type of democratic options for bringing economic equality, which will ultimately lead to net zero lifestyle of all strata of the society?
You see, this is a very interesting and tough question, Shwetal Bhai. The point is crony capitalism has to be handled differently because you need transparency into the decision-making process. You need less of corruption in that process. So that is a different game. I'm not saying that don't do that. But we have to be very careful what we build today. Because if we build infrastructure which is very energy intensive today, we are stuck for next 30 years. So we have to be very careful what we are building today. The world has to support. There are two things as a mitigation, adaptation. There are three more things which are technology transitions, financial transfers, and capacity building. So these are the 5 pillars of climate action. So I think global countries, the other developed countries, are not coming forward. They agreed when President Obama was there in Copenhagen to provide $100 billion of support every year by 2020. We are in 2020, the support given is only $12 billion. So I think these are issues which nobody misses, and we become a bit sensitive. Developing countries, it becomes you versus me. It doesn't become that we are working together. I think these things will come. Shwetal Bhai, this is you are with Government of Gujarat. We can discuss this in length. We have created a proposal very recently, and which says low carbon, climate resilient Gujarat. So both things have to be done and done together. We can. Nobody has a magic wand. Nobody has a silver bullet that okay, one shot we take care of climate. No, it is not possible. We need many actions.
Right, with Shwetal Bhai, actually we have had a number of discussions many a times at the climate change department as well. Can I request whoever has the audio on to switch it off, please? So that we
Please
can
switch off your
continue with the
audios.
question.
Thank you.
Whoever has the audio on.
Okay. Meanwhile, I'll just continue with the questions. There is another question from Dr. Dharmendra Shah. Says that our per capita emissions are already too low by global standards. So is it not necessary for the other countries also to lower the emissions so that we can have some better leverage?
So it is a very good question, but the point is this per capita emission, our per capita emission is around 2 tons per capita per year, and global emissions are 4.5 tons per capita per year. Developed country emissions are maybe 5 times, 10 times than us. But I think the global discussions, we have come out and away from per capita because that is not tenable now. The tenable thing is nationally determined contribution. How much we have agreed to do ourselves, and we have agreed to do 3 main actions: reduce our greenhouse gas emission per GDP 33-35%, 40% of power generation using non-fossil sources, and the creating additional carbon sinks of 2.5 to 3 billion ton. India, I'm very happy to inform you, it has been analyzed and established. India, our country, is the only country that is on track to meet our Paris commitment. Another thing we'll say that Paris commitment is 33 to 35% by 2030. By 2016, we are almost touching 30% reduction. So India is doing very well in this, and I think this is important. India is having a leadership role in climate discussions now, climate leadership role, thanks to Honorable Prime Minister and the team. I think we should continue with that. This per capita discussion makes our case weaker now, I think, because we are anyway very strong.
True. There is a suggestion come question from Dr. Sandhya Rajput. She says that can we devise some stricter rules for extraction of the groundwater so that there is less wastage, because this is something which I have also suggested to Shwetal Bhai to bring up some policy from the government level where we can do rainwater harvesting. So sir,
yes, why not? Yes, very good. I'm all for it.
So maybe we should devise some mechanism when you are revising the state action plan. Maybe you can put something for this over there. So that all multi-storied buildings should have mandatory rainwater harvesting systems, and there should be some mechanism for regulating the extraction. Besides that, there is one suggestion or question from Dr. Rupali Goyal. She says that can we make the construction of green buildings mandatory for large construction schemes?
Let me tell you, India already has 6 billion square feet of green buildings. We may not know this. 6 billion out of total 15 billion space. We 6 billion already there. And in next 5 years, it is going to increase to 10 billion square feet. So this is no mean achievement. And the incremental cost to create a green building, it is almost levelized. No, it is 1%, 2% additional, because we are getting all the materials in India now. Earlier it was 5%, 7%, but now, and people are able to, builders are able to get maybe more people buying green buildings. So I don't think it is required. There are laws for this. Building codes are there, national building codes, and which are implemented already in, I think, 16 states. So it is happening. It is happening on its own already.
Sir, we can go on with the questions, but you had mentioned that you have another international
so I am
call.
thinking this, I have already shifted that call. That doesn't mean that we can go on talking, but I've shifted that call already by 30 minutes.
Okay. So, should we take one more question?
Yeah, it is up to you.
How does the societal change need to become conceptualized in climate change adaptation planning? I think you have discussed on this, but
Yeah, you see, it is not a simple transition. Societal change means you, me, everyone. So we have to consume whatever. There was a single slide I gave for climate action by us. Let us start doing it. Societal change will happen. And less travel, more work from home from wherever it is possible, less water consumption, saving energy, keeping our AC at 25, 26 degrees centigrade. All these things are simple action, but they will regenerate the society. And then there is nothing like that somebody will come and put a magic wand that, oh, society is changed from tomorrow. It doesn't happen. We have to change from inside. Then actions will happen.
Right, sir. I can actually pass on your email, or you have already put it in the last slide. So I can request the participants to address their questions directly, maybe. Or we are already putting this video on the Facebook page, and it will remain there. So there are some demands for your presentation as well, but it will be visible if they go through the video again. So
thank you. So I'll request not to shoot your questions to me, because I'll be inundated. And if I'm not able to respond, then you will say, oh, Professor Garg is not responding. So I think, Sanskriti, you have to remain in between and then maybe filter questions and then to me.
Sure, sir. So I will request the participants to address the question to the ICCR email ID, and we will respond to that. And only those questions which I think we are not able to respond, I will pass it on to Garg, sir.
Thank you.
So that will bring me to the concluding remarks for today's session. First of all, let me thank Professor Amit Garg, sir, for accepting this invitation, because I did write a formal email, but sir, we are really grateful that you accepted this invitation, and also the inconvenience which we caused to you by shifting it slightly. So it was a very, very enlightening session, and you can see the remarks in the chat section. Everyone has really appreciated the discussion which you had over here. But besides that, I will also thank Shri Jigar Inamdar, who actually personally came and met you and almost like convinced you to accept this invitation. Incidentally, when I called him for some other work, he said that he was at IIM Ahmedabad. So I said that, why don't you help me by doing this? So thank you, Jigar bhai, for that support. But I would say, Garg sir, that like Professor Parimal Vyas sir mentioned, we are not going to leave you with just one webinar. We will seek your continuous advice, guidance, and also, if possible, some collaborative work. Because I have been interacting with Professor Vimal Mishra for a very long time, because I was also part of the ITRA team where he was also involved, but I was with some other project. So maybe we can do some work together in the near future. So we are not going to leave you with this one webinar. And we look forward to your support in the form of advice and guidance to the Institute of Climate Change Research as well. I will sincerely also thank Professor Parimal Vyas sir, Dr. K.M. Chudasama sir, as well as the Senate and syndicate body of the university for their unconditional support always, sometimes even when I'm disturbing them at odd hours for some guidance related to some work. Besides that, I will thank the team of IQAC and the university communication cell and media management for the logistic support for arranging this webinar. I will thank the press and media for the coverage for this event. Sir, I have a very enthusiastic team of students, research students. Chirayu Pandit, Neerav Agrawal, Meet Dave, Akash Patel and Madhav. They are, I can say the backbone for all the programs because they work behind the scenes in managing all these. So thank you, dear students, as well. This is the 4th webinar actually, sir, under the banner of ICCR. We started with Shwetal Bhai. Then we had one independent researcher. After that, we had Professor Dev Niyogi, and the 4th one, we have you. And I have to say that the response which we have been getting has been increasing with each webinar. So this time we had over 950 registrations. In fact, we had asked only those who want to get a certificate to register, and for all others, it was open on the Facebook page. So the Facebook page also has crossed a very big number on both the Facebook pages of ICCR as well as the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. And I will be sending the report to you as well, just for your reference. So thank you, dear participants, for your very, very overwhelming response. We are grateful to you always, and I appreciate your interest and enthusiasm, and will look forward to a similar response in the future too, in all our endeavors. We will definitely come up with some more very eminent speakers. So we will keep sharing the details on the ICCR MSU Facebook page. So I will request you to keep liking it, keep following it, and also, if possible, share the details with other people who are interested in such programs, because I believe that climate change is a subject which has touched almost every aspect of our life, whether it is economy, whether it is health and hygiene, whether it is biodiversity or policy framing, besides of course the infrastructure, water resources, etc. So I believe that all of us have to collectively first work in spreading a word about it, increasing more awareness about it, and then that would actually trigger some minds to come and get involved into a research into this subject. ICCR is open for all platforms. That is not just the core meteorology or water resources. So we can work out in a very collaborative way for any subject that is involving climate change. So do share the details with other participants. We will be sending a feedback link. So those who wish to avail the certificate will have to fill the feedback link and send it back to us, a small formality which we have to follow as an academic institute. So once again, I will thank Professor Amit Garg sir for accepting this invitation. Also for all those who are directly and indirectly involved in this program. So till we meet again, stay healthy, stay safe, stay connected, take care of yourself, and keep learning new things. Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.